Good afternoon, ma'am. It's Tristan Govender, and today I'm going to be walking you through the changes that we've made to our cybersecurity chatbot named Pierre. From the last time, you can already see the improvements in the fact that we only had one program class in the last one, and now we use four classes altogether. We'll talk about all of them, but let's start off real simple. The first major change we made was replace the dictionary list of responses, which by the way only had one response, with this keyword response list. Here we see various keywords as well as random sentences that you could ask the AI and their set responses. But it's not just this, and we'll expand upon that later on. The magic regarding all the keyword responses and their baseline stuff happens right here in this class, where we check if the user's message contains one of said keywords, and basically, if it doesn't match, we'll give an error response or one of the other various messages we have stored up, which we'll talk about later. Or if it does match up, give one of our responses. This method right here, if I can highlight it, goes through the list, and if it finds a match, gives the relevant response. Last time we did this, the bot only had one predetermined response. If you type password, it gave you that single sentence every single time. But now we added a little spice to it. Because if we go to this next class over here called Random Response Manager and go right to the top, we'll see now there are various responses for each keyword. So for example, instead of the single one that we had predetermined in the programs page over here, we have three completely new responses that are randomized and will be displayed every time someone asks for password, for example. So every time there'll be a different response. So it's not some kind of predetermined chatbot anymore. This makes talking to the bot feel fresh and less repetitive and not make you want to bang your head against a wall. If you happen to see some stuff about Diddy here, it's because I actually gave my bot a personality, and he's not just going to give you some random chat like family friendly answer that ChatGPT would give you or something like that. He actually has a personality. He's someone you would want to talk to. If we go right to the bottom, we'll see this method right here called try get random response, which checks if this topic exists, and instead of just doing the one predetermined response that we saw in programs, we'll now randomize each of the four in total, I guess, and give the user one of them for every single time they ask about privacy. So now it has some new information to talk about, but how is this actual conversation skills? Well, we've also made tweaks and improved the conversation flow of the chatbot. Let's make a move to the programs class set again and look at this. This right here that we're approaching extremely slowly is the main while loop. This will continuously ask the user what they want to know. Every time it generates a response, it's not just going to break the app, it's going to every single time ask you, alright, that's cool, now what do you want to know next? It waits for input, checks if it's valid, and then decides how to respond based on what's typed basically. And if you type exit, obviously, that will not break, but exit the app and end communications with the bot. So this process of checking what was said, finding a match, and replying or giving an error message based on if you type gibberish is basically what's happening in this extremely slow-moving while loop. This right here handles the error if you enter exit, for example, or if you enter or just hit space, like enter or space or something like that, it's going to give you this message asking you to actually type something for once. This section here is interesting if you look at it. It handles user memory and recall. Let's actually talk about that for a second. This bot has a simple memory system using a class called user memory. It basically remembers the user's names and whatever topics that he tells the chatbot that he's interested in. For example, if you ask about maybe privacy or malware, the bot will remember that and bring it up at later points where it actually replies. It's not going to be repetitive and just bring it up with every single message. It's going to have reasoning. The processes in this class will essentially help make the bot more personalized the more you use it over time and remember stuff. We go back to the main class for the next aspect to showcase sentiment detection. Because just because it's a robot does not mean it can't have empathy. So the cool thing here is you can actually tell the bot how you're feeling and it will give you a response based on that. So let's say, for example, whatever text you give the bot contains stuff like question mark or curious or wonder. It will return something to the curious keyword, and it's the same with essentially major emotions like worry or frustration or happiness or sadness. So let's say in your message you say the words, I'm really frustrated about malware or something. It will pick up the word frustrated, and before you even like receive the information about malware, the bot will try and empathize with you. So let's move up here and see, here we go, frustrated, and he will message this part here. And after it's done empathizing with you, then it will, after calming you down a little bit, respond with whatever. So let's say we wanted malware, it's gonna tell you something to do from either here or the random responses about malware. I'm sure every single last one of us has felt in our life like we've spoken to a brick wall. So the fact that a chatbot has more empathy than most people is actually a really cool thing that I think I should get marks for. So even though I kind of spoke about it earlier, let's bring it back one more time just to say we hit all the checkpoints, all right? Error handling and how we did it. Well, we go back to our while loop and here we are. Well, actually, let's go a bit up. So obviously, the bot asks you, what would you like to ask as your main entrance point? It's gonna ask you that when he to initiate you, telling him what you want to know. But if for some reason you want to be faulty and let's say just hit enter and enter absolutely nothing, he'll respond with this if it finds a null or white space. And let's say you ask something that the bot doesn't recognize or just type absolute gibberish, then just like last time, it will fall back onto our error responses, which as you can see, we've changed the color to be written clearly in red. By the way, the lists of error responses are found right here. The usage of lists and checks keep things organized and always make sure that the bot knows how to reply properly. And as for code optimization, I use classes, which are 4 of them in total, to cater to the different aspects of things and break them into small parts while keeping the code clean, reusable, and easy to manage for me. There's no doubt that even when part 3 comes, this code will be easy to work with for future reference. So all that's left to do now is to run the application and show you that all of this nonsense actually works. Let's just minimize this app real quick so we can actually...
Yo, Pierre, you want to come out here?
So just for the fun of it, I named myself password, also because I wasn't paying attention. I'll be so real with you. But now we're on the screen, we can actually look at keyword recognition. So let's show you that it actually works, because yeah, it worked last time, but we did make changes. So let's show you we didn't actually mess anything up. Let's ask about, well, let's keep to our name, password. So that's response number 1. It'll only be my luck if it randomizes it again, but let's see if what password says when we say it again. And as you can see, a completely new and different password message shows up when it kicks up the keyword password. That's how we handle keyword response as well as randomized responses. Next up, let's talk about the other aspect, which is user memory. So let's say I want to tell the bot something like this. So when asking about user memory, all we have to do is tell the bot what we're feeling. So let's say today I and he'll respond about privacy, and then you'll see when he's done with the sentence, he will remember. See? And the yellow goldish writing, depending if you're colorblind or not. So now the bot will remember that, hey, this guy said he's into privacy. So when it actually applies, he will actually bring up privacy. So let's actually look into that. So now if I ask the bot, yo, how do I stay safe? That's not an S. Safe. He will answer by asking me, well, telling me, recognizing I know I wanted privacy, so He will answer from one of the randomized privacy responses. And as you can see, based on what you've seen already, the conversational flow that this bot has is absolutely incredible. The final aspect we're going to cover is sentiment control, and that's really simple. All we have to tell him is something simple like, I can't spell frustrated because like, okay, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm nervous. So let's say um and it'll calm me down and tell me to take a deep breath in, deep breath out because I'm worried, and then tell me about malware when it's done. And of course, that's the one it decides to talk about. And if you notice over here, it notes the fact that, okay, this guy said, yo, I'm worried about malware. So it's going to say, all right, he's worried about it. I'll also remember that as well as privacy. So just like what happened here, he'll bring out malware and privacy. The final aspect is just basic error control, and you technically can already see it in work when I accidentally press enter at the wrong time. But all right, for starters, I just hit enter. Hit a space. And he'll respond absolutely insulting me because I'm wasting his time by hitting spacebar and asking him nothing. That's the first type of error handling. And secondly, obviously, if I just type something like that, he will answer in red text telling me to take my time to type because he can't understand gibberish. And also there are randomized responses for that. So essentially, that is Pierre, the cybersecurity bot, and the updates we've made to make him more human in a sense. I do hope you enjoyed this and don't mind my nervousness, and I thank you for watching. Peace. Final thing we'll do is simply exit. Till we meet again, we lit.